And there we are. Says we're live. That's excellent. Hello, how are you on this fine, oh goodness, what day is it? Is this Monday? Yes, Monday. Good to see you on this Monday, 5th of December. It is day 5 of my Scotch Whisky Advent calendar that the kind guys at Really Good Whisky Company sent me. So I'm working my way through these, doing a Dram a day in December. Really enjoying it. Having some great conversations with folks about it, great comments, really having fun and having some cracking whiskey as well. Hope you've had a good Monday. I've had a cracking day. Met a mate for coffee and breakfast this morning, came home, did an online tutorial, went to the gym, pumped some iron, came home, made a good old pot of Scotch broth for myself, and then cooked a curry for tea. So I've had a great day. I'm just living the dream. And I now get to drink some whiskey. So tonight, I've got a different one. This is from the Old Particular range. So that's Douglas Lane and Company. And it's an 18-year-old from North British. So this is a single grain. Different type of whiskey for single malt. You know, if you look at your Scotch whisky regulations, there's 5 types of whiskey you can sell. Single malt, single grain, blended malt, blended grain, and blended Scotch. This is one that's different from the single malts that we've had the last few nights. This is a single grain. Made at North British. It's North British 2003, 18-year-old, so bottled last year. It's an interesting grain whiskey, and it's been matured in a single cask, a refill sherry cask. So there's not, to my knowledge, there's not a huge amount of grain whiskey out there that's been matured in sherry casks. Nearly all the whiskey that's matured in Scotland is grain spirit, and most of it is in ex-bourbon casks to be used in blends. And most of the grain whiskey or single grains that I've drunk in the past have been from bourbon casks. So this is quite an unusual one. So I'm looking forward to this. North British as well, slightly different. And when I was still working for Diageo and doing audits down in Edinburgh, one of the companies I audited used to take maize over from the States into North British. Now, most of the grain whiskey in Scotland is fermented from wheat and then distilled. And I think, to my knowledge, I think North British was probably the only or one of the very few grain distilleries that used maize. Now, that was back, early 2000s. So they were using maize back then. So not so sure what they're using now. Maybe they're using a mix or they're on the wheat. Not certain. If anybody knows, pump it into the comments. What are North British using for their unmalted cereals now in the process? Anyway, interesting process. Similarities, but great differences from making single malt Scotch whisky, and gives you a different type of spirit and therefore a different type of whisky. So let's crack it open and see what this is like. It's a nice colour. Still quite light for an 18-year-old, but then let me just check. It was a refill sherry cask. So there's not a huge amount of colour. Doesn't look like one of your sherry bombs, but there's a reasonable amount of colour there. So let's have a nose. Yeah, it's slightly different from the ones I've done before. When I nose grain spirit, it's lighter normally than malt whiskey, and there's almost a kind of a chemically sort of acetone kind of nose to it. Now, I can smell that this has had a bit of sherry cask in it. It's a bit woody. To be completely honest, not a huge amount going on in the nose. I'm really not getting a lot on the nose. Maybe it need a little bit longer, warm it up a wee bit. I've been doing something different this year and just opening them and pouring them and then nosing them almost blind, as it were, when I come online. What I've done in the past is kind of nose it a little bit, so kind of know in advance what I'm going to say. But I thought, what the heck? I'm just going to go for it this year. Nosing, very subjective, could be completely different to what you get. But I think it's quite interesting just giving it a go. So I'm still not getting a lot on the nose. A little bit of sherry notes and a little bit of wood on there, but not a huge amount else. The ones I've had previously, all the single malts, the last 4 nights, I've had a little bit more on the nose. So let's hear a taste. It's 40. Now, what did I say? I had to actually, I'm going to admit something here. I had to go through and ask Val and Lydia what the alcohol content was in this, because the writing is so wee, I couldn't see it. I haven't got long enough arms to see what it is. So I think Val said it was about 48.4. So let's have a taste. Oh, that's quite unusual, actually. I thought it was going to take my breath away there. I felt a cough starting, but no. Oh, I'm struggling on that. There's a taste on there that's quite unusual. It's really quite burning. It's thin on the mouthfeel. Not a lot going on, but really quite not harsh. I'm not going to say that, but I've had a few in this out of this pack up in the high 40s, and they've been a bit smoother than this one. So a refill sherry, so not a new cask. Maybe it's, the cask hasn't been as active as some of the other casks that we've had already. There's a little bit more of a sherry influence that time, but there's something on there. Oh, I don't know. It's quite sweet on my lips and tongue this time. Bit more sweetness there after I got past the sort of the alcohol burn, maybe. I think it's like, I don't know, like cherries or something like that. But not a huge amount going on here. Not one of the more interesting drams that I've had out of my pack. Let's have another go. Still not a huge amount in the nose. There's a little bit more of the sort of chemically notes, acetone notes that I was talking about that I sometimes get from grain spirit. Now, I don't know if that's just a suggestion for me. And there's it's like sort of cherry tunes, those cough medicine cherry kind of flavour. Really quite weird. I don't know if I like it or not. I think it's all right. It's not the best dram we've had out of the pack, but it's interesting, I think, is what I would say. A little bit more just to make sure. There's the sherry influence again, a little bit woody, but that's that cherry note I'm not certain about. But anyway, that was Dram 5 from my wonderful advent calendar that I'm marking my way through. So that was a single grain, slightly different whiskey tonight. That was the old particular North British single grain from a single cask, a refill sherry cask. Reasonably priced for an 18-year-old. I reckon it was about £65. I thought that's really good for an 18-year-old. 48.4% ABV. So that's my dram for tonight at the start of the week. I hope you're enjoying your drams if you're having any. Be responsible, drink responsibly, as I always say. but enjoy your drams. So thanks for joining. I'll away now and have a look at your comments, because for whatever reason I got comments up last night, but I've not any comments tonight. So maybe that you've not been commenting, or I've just not got them on my stream yet. But never mind. So thanks for joining. I can see there are people on. Thanks for joining and coming along. I enjoyed my dram. Hope you enjoy yours. And I will see you again tomorrow for Dram 6 in my drama day in December. So cheers and good night from Ratty. I will see you all tomorrow.